SOS free cooking. So I am going to make a clamless chowder that is salt-free, oil-free, and sugar-free. And this recipe actually comes from, it's another of the recipes from Straight Up Food. I believe it's food, yeah, straightupfood.com with Kathy Fisher. And I want to preface this with saying, yet again, well, first things first, if you don't like mushrooms, you might not want, just skip this recipe, okay? Just stop watching right now. Okay, turn it off. Okay, you're gone, good. So for the rest of you that do like mushrooms, this is probably an okay recipe to try. There's some mushrooms in it for sure. So, Clamless Clam Chowder. I want you to be very, very understanding when you hear me say this, and please listen to me very specifically. I am guessing this recipe is good, okay? It probably tastes really good, actually, but I never follow a recipe exactly, ever. Like, never. I never follow a recipe exactly. So if something comes out not quite tasting as awesome as it might, that's probably me. That's probably nothing to do with the recipe. So keep that in mind. And then also, I am not ready to be salt-free yet in terms of my taste buds. I'm not there yet. It's been almost 2 weeks and I'm not there yet. So I am still finding food very blah and not flavorful and just not awesome. So if you've been SOS free for a long time, or for at least more than 2 weeks, you might really enjoy this recipe. From what I understand, her recipes are really good and people really like them. The mushroom risotto that I made of hers, didn't care for. But then again, I actually did follow the recipe fairly straightforward on that one. I changed a few things around, but I think that was me. I don't think that had anything to do with the recipe not being good, especially seeing as my husband put some soy sauce in it and thought it was fabulous. Okay, if you can add a little bit of salt to something and think it tastes wonderful, then I'm guessing if you're used to not eating salt, you're gonna think it tastes wonderful. That's just a supposition on my part. I could be totally wrong. But, so, clamless clam chowder. I'm gonna give you guys a list of the things that are supposed to be in here. Supposed to be in here. So you have onions and celery and potatoes, and then a little bit of cauliflower, and then you have mushrooms, more onion, more celery. And for spices, you have some garlic, some paprika, dried dill, bay leaves, and thyme. And she's very specific about how you do this recipe. You put some stuff in a soup pot and you fry some stuff and then put, no oil, fry some stuff in water and then put it in the soup pot and you cook it like that. And we're not doing that. I'm doing a crock pot. That's just the way it's going to be. It's going to be a crock pot recipe. I am going to use the majority of the same ingredients. And also with this, to make it more creamy, like the clamless chowder McCreamy, she has some water and cashews. So I am going to do that part, except I'm going to use half cashews, half white beans to try and leave the creaminess there, but get rid of some of the fat. So there's that. There's not many. I mean, her original recipe has a 1/4 cup of cashews in it. That's not very many cashews. But I am probably doubling this recipe, maybe tripling. For sure doubling. Okay, so what I did, I chopped up 2 red onions. I chopped up 2 celery ribs. I chopped up maybe about 4 pounds of small red potatoes, just chopped them into little chunks. They're not little, chopped them into chunks. I have riced cauliflower, which I'm going to use because I'm all about not chopping up anything I don't have to. And I have, ooh, let me show you. So at my Asian market, there's these dried shiitake mushrooms that are in slices. And so if you can see this bag, it's kind of a big size bag. I think I maybe took 1/3 of it out, more than 1/4, maybe 1/3, maybe not quite 1/3. Anyway, I took about 1/3 of it out and I put it in a pan, in a little pot. And then I put water on it and a plate on top of it to hold it in there. And then when after I got done chopping everything else, I squeezed the mushrooms out and chopped them up into some pieces. And it made this really dark, rich liquid in the pot. That was the water. I'm gonna use that as the water. I don't see any reason not to. It smells mushroomish, if that's a word. But I really think that it'll work well, and you need enough water in this recipe to make it, so why not, right? Okay, so I'm going to show you my ingredients. I don't have the spices out. I'm going to show you my ingredients after I get the spices out, and then I'm going to put them all in the crock pot and maybe I'll show you what it looks like then too, but I mean, a bunch of mixed up stuff in a crock pot, woohoo. But anyways, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna put it on high for 6 hours. That should be enough time because it's 5:36 right now. If I get everything started by 6 o'clock, my husband should be able to eat by noon. I won't be home at noon today, but I'll be home later after that, and I'll go ahead and try it and let you guys know if it's good or not. So I'm gonna get everything in there and get it started, and then I think that I'm gonna add the blended cashews and beans right away rather than waiting till the end as well. So let's get started and show you what we've got going on. All right, guys, so here are the approximate 4 pounds of potatoes. I did not chop them finely at all. So like I cut this one probably in quarters. Some of them that were a little bit longer, I cut them, obviously this one, like I cut it into sixths. That's a good sized potato chunk. I'm not spending my time making these into teeny tiny little pieces. Cauliflower is teeny tiny little pieces, but not because I had anything to do with that. That's just the way it comes. That's what the rice cauliflower looks like. There is 2 red onions and 2 celery ribs chopped up. And again, I was lazy with this too. You see how nicely those are chopped? Yeah, I didn't do that. I mean, I did do that, but I used my husband's food chopper that he has. It's this big, tall, industrial food chopper. Yeah, that's beautiful. And it was super fast. There are the mushrooms. They are just roughly chopped as well. So, I mean, they're not even really chopped all that well, but I don't see how it really makes too much difference. So, those are the main ingredients. And then I was telling you about the water. That's the mushroom water. I probably won't use whatever is settled in the bottom down there. I don't think it's dirt, but who knows what it is. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I'll just use the liquid off the top. So we're going to have that, and that I'm going to pull out we're going to have garlic, paprika, dried dill, bay leaves, and some thyme. So let me get that stuff put in the crock pot, and I will show you what it looks like. Yeah, so I may have made a little too much for my crock pot. I'm using an 8-quart crock pot, but it's kind of full. So I ended up taking out, let's see if you can see this. Maybe 3-4 potatoes? And it's still really full. So this is what it looks like. It's actually quite pretty. Here, let's turn you this way for a second. Isn't that beautiful? Oh, you probably just see tons of shadow, huh? But I'll turn my camera off and turn it back on. Hang on just one second. So obviously, let me get this steady for you. You can see a lot of dill. You can see the potatoes. You could see, here's a mushroom right here. There's a little dill leaf sticking up here. Nope, sorry, bay leaf sticking up here and here. There's the onions and the cauliflower. It took me quite a bit of effort to get this stuff mixed together, guys, let me tell you, because that is one very full container. I did already mix the beans and the cashews with water that was already in here. So there's that dirty container, and that's why it looks so nice and creamy. I am going to now get this started. All right, it is officially set to high. So we get a cover on here, and we're gonna make some clamless chowder. Anyway, I'll show you guys what it looks like later today when we eat it. It'll be, I'm gonna go with it'll be delicious. We're going to be optimistic on this one. So I'll see you guys later. Alrighty guys, so here is the clamless chowder. You could see, like right here is one of the onions, or excuse me, one of the mushrooms. They are very chewy, just like a clam. And the potatoes are nice and soft, they're fully cooked. There's the rest of the goo that's in there. And I have to say that it is not awesome. Yet again, I've made something that does not taste great. But I do think that it could very well be because I'm not used to, just not used to salt-free food. So my oldest daughter was eating with us for lunch, and she was not loving it either, but she ended up putting some liquid aminos on it, which are relatively salty, and she really enjoyed it. So maybe if it had salt in it, it would be delicious. So obviously this just comes down to, yet again, I'm not used to salt-free food, just not used to it yet. So that soup is going to turn into that. That is going to be my lunch for tomorrow. I dug out a whole bunch of potatoes. I'm going to put some onion powder on there and some garlic powder on there, and it will be delicious. And that's just the way that's going to work. So, not super awesome. However, I think it probably has a lot of potential. If it had been saltier, I think it probably would have tasted fine. But it's just not, no, I wouldn't recommend this one, guys. Unless you're eating a salt-based diet. And if you have salt in your diet, you might actually want to try it. The mushrooms definitely are chewy like a clam, and everything is okay. It's just not awesome. So there's my lunch for tomorrow. But anyway, the potatoes are salvageable. The rest of the soup, not so much. Sorry guys, not another win, but you gotta keep trying. Talk to you guys later.